everyone, welcome back to Ormsby Farm. Today on the video, we are talking with my friend Alicia from Country Mama Musing on how and why and what we use our freeze-dried food for. So if that is something that interests you, stick around and let's head to the pantry. Come on.
I'm coming home.
And y'all, we are back and we're in my pantry with a person who needs no introduction. She is friend of all friends. We call her friend, a dear friend to me. Friend, let's welcome to the stage, to the StreamYard, to the YouTube video, Alicia from Country Mama Musing. Hi, friend.
Hello, friend. Thank you for bringing me into your pantry.
And yes, so
you're one of my very
you
special friends.
I'm so excited to have you in the pantry because really everything that I've learned stocking up wise has been from you and your channel. So I was like, I really need to have her on and pick her brain, not only just for me, but for everybody that's watching on prepping food. Now, we always talk about the canning food and the dehydrating and freezing and so on and so forth. But we've also talked about freeze-dried food from different companies such as, is it Hoosier Hill and AUGASON Farms?
Those are a couple, yes, that we like to frequent, yes.
So basically, what I want to talk about today with you on here is when you get these big giant hunk of cans in the mail, they are sealed. And I'm going to open this one because I haven't opened it yet. They are sealed. And it does state that it has a 30-year shelf life. But what happens when you want to open it and try it? I mean, is there a shelf life after that, friend? I mean, once you open it, what's the shelf life then?
Well, sure. I mean, it's an important thing to note. I like to really encourage everybody, though, if you're going to invest in your pantry and you are going to get the freeze-dried foods from companies such as this one that do have the 30-year shelf life, keep them up there for your 30-year shelf life if you can. If you can find other ways to supplement your pantry, save these for emergencies if you can. Having said that, I break my own rule. And there have been times, because, you know, when we first bought these, we had to see what they were like because we had to know if we were justified in buying more. So we have ordered quite a surplus of different freeze-dried foods from this company as well as Hoosier Farms. And we open them and then we try them and see if we like them. And then we find different ways to put them up. It's very rare that I keep them in this container. What I like to do with this container once I open it and once I redistribute everything, I like to use these containers to save my seeds. I'll take the package off, I'll mark the lid that I've got seeds, and I'll put all of my seeds in here and put them away because you don't want to get rid of these number 10 cans. Everything is useful. What do you have in yours?
I was about to say, you know, friend, I listen to you. Well, right now in this one, it's really just like sprinkles and like cupcake decorating stuff.
Yeah, don't throw the stuff away. It's so good. You know, and that, before we get too far off topic, because you know I always do, I also save these as well as any pasta sauce cans, you know, not the ones that are your normal 15-ounce size, but like the 28-ounce size. I make sure I have 2 or 3 of those always on hand because these make great rocket stoves. You can actually cut open a circle here and slide that other can in. And you put your tinder in right here and you put a little grate from a stove on top and it will create a really great rocket stove. So I save them for that as well.
Friend, do I smell a video from you coming on that?
Sure. Yeah, it's been one I've been meaning to do. My issue is I have not been able to find a grate to go on the top, you know, like a stove, the stove panel on top. But my sister says there's one in her barn, but I haven't braved going in there to find one yet. But you could always take like a round barbecue crate and set it on top and then set your pan on top. But it really is a great thing. I plan on doing a video for that. But rocket stoves are a really great asset to have on your farm or on your homestead in case you lose power and you need to have alternative ways of cooking, because what's really great is they use very, very minimal amounts of kindling. You can get a rip-roaring fire. I've seen some people even do their canning of jams and jellies on a rocket stove made out of bricks where they didn't have to use any propane and they used very little kindling. So I saved them for those as well. Hang on to these things. The important thing to note, though, is if you're going to save these cans and store things in them with this plastic lid, just remember rodents can chew through this lid. So if you're going to keep food in it afterwards for whatever reason, or even your seeds can be susceptible to rodents. So just be mindful of that. But one thing that I do is when I open up these these cans and say I want to do something with them, I then get, for me personally, I like to get the half-gallon mason jars, because one of these cans from this company, I can fill up 2 or 3 of these easily. And then I just vacuum seal it. So as you can see, I don't have a ring on this. I can hold it by the lid. It's vacuum sealed. There's no air in here. There's no moisture in here. Nothing's going to happen to this sweet corn that I've had in here for probably 2 or 3 years now.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I do. So there's my corn. And then I also have one that I put in up quite a while ago with celery in it.
Well, you know I'm prepared, friend, because I pulled down off of one of your fabulous videos that I will leave the link in the description box for the funeral potatoes that you made. I went and I accidentally pressed order multiple times on Amazon.
Say it isn't so.
And got the vacuum sealer can thing.
Yes.
Which I haven't quite learned how to use yet. And it comes with...
Super simple. Super simple.
It comes with a regular mouth and the wide mouth.
Right. And all you want to do with those,
there.
Real quick, I'll tell you, all you want to do is put your product in your jar. Make sure that your rim is nice and wiped, because these things that are freeze-dried, they'll have a powder consistency sometimes. You don't want that powder on that rim. You put your lid on, and you slide that apparatus right over the top of your jar, and it's hooked up to your food saver, and you just press the button to remove the air. You don't have to press the seal button, just the button that removes the air, and it will suck all of the air out of here and seal this lid, and then you just pop that right back off and you're good to go. If you find that you're having issues, usually with the regular size lids, sometimes you have some problems, put 2 lids on. Put your thing on top, seal it, and the top lid, of course, will come off, but it kind of helps create that pressure that it's needed to hold it down and get that seal to work. So there's little tips.
And y'all stay tuned. Stay tuned to the very end of this video, because it's going to be a longer video, because I am going to try Alicia's recommendation, and we are going to seal something right here on the video at the end. So you have to watch all the way through. And we're going to be doing it with 4-jar lids. So I'm excited.
Wonderful.
I'm excited. So let's talk first about, you've talked now that you've done your sweet corn and that you like to put them in the half-gallon jars and vacuum seal them. But you also do meals in a jar, which I love. I think it's amazing. Can you talk more about that?
Absolutely. You know, I know that you and I discussed a little bit before we came on camera. We were going to kind of discuss dehydrating versus freeze drying and why this is worth it to get some of these freeze dried foods. I don't have a freeze dryer, maybe someday, but I do have a really good dehydrator. And the first year I had it, I dehydrated anything and everything that I could, and it worked well. But then you start noticing, oh my gosh, there's such a difference between the dehydrated and the freeze dried. And let me give you an example. These are some peas that I dehydrated in my very expensive, very, very nice dehydrator that Papa Jim got for me. These are now 2.5 years old. And if I hold them up here close, you can see that they dehydrated nicely. There's no moisture in there. These are good to go. I can use these, and I have used these in some of my meals. I love making an Alfredo sauce with bow tie pasta with these little peas.
Ooh, yum.
So good. Yum, yum, yum. That's one of the meals in the jars that I like to make. But if you look at them, peas have a little skin shell on them, and those tend to kind of crinkle up and harden. Let me show you how the freeze-dried peas look in my meals in a jar. Look at those perfectly little round, beautifully green colored little peas in there.
Yeah.
There's something about the freeze drying that it doesn't cause the skin of the vegetable to kind of harden. And that happens when you dehydrate. So there are a lot of wonderful foods you can dehydrate. And if that's the resource you have, then yes, I still recommend that you dehydrate those peas. They just take a little longer to rehydrate. And sometimes you might get a little bit of toughness in that skin. Same with corn or bell peppers, anything like that. So for me, after doing this for a few years now, we've determined that it's worth the little bit more to get an entire number 10 can of corn. This would be several bags of corn to dehydrate, where I've got it right here. It's been freeze dried and I really like it in my meals so much better. I'm not knocking the dehydrating, but if you can spend, what is it, $10, $15 on this corn, right, saves you the electricity that you're going to use for your dehydrator. And this has that shelf life. You can just stick it away. But you're right. I do like to open them sometimes, and I do like to make my meals in a jar. So the one that I was showing you here that I showed you the peas, this is beef stew. I made this 2 years ago. Put it in here, and I've got potatoes. I have TVP beef, which is a texturized vegetable protein, so it's a vegetarian option. So I've got peas, I have carrots, I have peppers, I have corn, I have onions, I have all my spices. Yum, yum, yum. So I make these. I will set up an assembly line, and I will have all of my number 10 cans open for what's going to go into my dish with little quarter cup scoops in them. And I just go down the line and I add them. So every jar that I have has the same thing in it in the same order. Gosh, they're beautiful. Isn't that pretty?
They are gorgeous. They are so pretty, like very appealing to the eye.
And it tastes wonderful too. So all of those freeze-dried foods, they have their nutrient value still in them, and they're put away. And I do what we were discussing earlier with the vacuum sealer. These are vacuum sealed. I took the ring off. I should have taken the ring off a long time ago, but it's one of those things. So I don't get a false seal. But I mean, I would need an actual jar key to open this up, and it's completely sealed in here, nice and tight. I even have mushrooms on the very top that I missed. But I write the instructions, and I apologize to 4Jar. This is actually a ball, but I did this before we knew about 4Jar. I do my sealing on it, and I write my instructions on it. So if there's a time where I'm incapacitated or sick and my family needs an off-grid meal, I've got it all right here. Instead of all of the number 10 cans and nobody knows what to do with it, it's a meal right here. My instructions are in here. It's beef stew, and you have to add 6 cups of H2O. Let it sit in that hot H2O for a little while, and then cook it down, and you have a beautiful beef stew. And I've made this. I love it. Another one that I have that we really enjoy. Again, let me take the lid off. Not the lid, the ring. This one I made in 2020 as well. This is chicken noodle pot pie. And this has, again, all of the beautiful vegetables. I have a cream base here at the bottom, all of my seasonings, my TVP chicken. So that is a vegan chicken option down here. I've got peas, corns, carrots, onions, and then I've got these lovely little noodles that are in here. And I just pop this open, add 6 cups of water, cook it up, and we've got chicken pot pie for dinner. Make up a side of biscuits with it. It's delicious. So I just love making all of these little meals in a jar. And I've got one more that I pulled out of the pantry. Again, take the ring off. This is taco rice soup. And
that sounds good too.
All of my seasonings, rice, onions, bell peppers. I have from this company some dehydrated green onions, the scallion green onions, and some TVP taco meat that's in here with all of my seasonings. I dump it out into a pot, fill this up 2 times with water, cook it up, and it's good to go. Now, here at the very, very top is something that I've also picked up from this company, is the freeze-dried shredded cheddar cheese. Now, take it from this country mama who made a huge mistake when I got my dehydrator. Do not try to dehydrate cheese. It doesn't work. It is a mess. It is an absolute mess. It needs to be freeze dried. So I actually separate my cheese. It's right here in a little baggie. And so I cook up all of this for my taco soup, and then I can rehydrate the cheese with just like a tablespoon or two of water. It puffs that cheese right back up, just like I took it out of the fridge, and I can sprinkle it on top of my taco soup, and we're good to go.
Now you said you separated the cheese. Do you separate it after you open it, or do you put it in a baggie before you vacuum seal it in the jar?
It's in a baggie in here. I'm not sure if you can see. There's a baggie here of cheese. So that way, when I open this, I just take the cheese out in its baggie, cook up my taco soup, put my cheese into a little bowl with some warm water and rehydrate it. And by the time my taco soup is all cooked up, my cheese is ready to sprinkle on top. It's absorbed all that water and it's delicious.
Now, speaking of the veggie meat, because, I am not a vegetarian, but I did order, let me find it through all of my tubs. I did order this. It's the beef flavored, like ground beef substitute.
Uh-huh.
And I have to say, as a Metasaurus Rex, I was very impressed. Just like it. Funny story is when Monica and the kids came to visit, Monica's like, no, my kids are like meat snobs. They won't want to eat it. She said, you'd have to like sneak it in there. And I did, and all 7 had no clue.
They know now, though, right?
Oh yeah, I told them. Yeah, they're not going to hear it for the first time on our video.
Surprise!
But this is so good, y'all, and financially smarter, because this right here, I think is like, I think I paid like $20, maybe $21. I'll leave it on the screen exactly what I paid for it. To where the actual ground beef, the real meat, is $60, $70, $80 for the tin can.
Exactly. And, let's look at whether, let's say for some reason you're down grid. All of a sudden you lose electricity for a week. What's going to happen to all that ground beef you have in your refrigerator? Unless you've canned it and you have it in your pantry in a mason jar, that beef is now compromised, where what you have in your can there is going to be good on the shelf for years and years and years. And like I said, I put it into my meals in a jar. This is only like a half a cup of the dried meat. Once it reconstitutes, it's 4 times the size it is here in volume. Right. And my family thought I was pretty nuts when I first started doing this. I purchased, I believe, a 60-pound box of the beef, a 60-pound box of the chicken. I think I got a 30-pound box of the ground beef, and I believe I have 20 pounds of ham, little ham bits that you saw in my funeral potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of that's in my pantry. So my initial investment of just a few $100s that's safe and secure in my pantry and can make meals like this, I can't buy that now at the store because of the price of meat right now.
Right.
And so now some of my family are like, wow, that was really kind of smart when you did that. And it's like, y'all don't make fun of me now because Mama kind of knows what she's talking about. And I know there are people who say it's either real meat or nothing, and that's fine. But it's nice to have something on the shelf that is an alternative that will give you sustenance, nutrients, put food in your belly if you need to do something. We were talking earlier about that rocket stove. I can go out right now, put together a rocket stove if I need to, and start a fire with kindling, get my cast iron skillet out there. I've got a pump that will pump up some water for me if I don't have water because I don't have electricity. And I can take one of these and cook it on that cast iron skillet. And if I go a week without power, water, anything, I can feed my family here. And a lot of it started from working with these cans and building these meals and putting them together.
And it's so important that you put it out there like that, Alicia, because, we always get, especially since we are very out front social media wise, we're on a podcast together, we're very outspoken influencers, that we always get those fear that we're fear mongers, that we're doing this, that we're doing this. No, we just want to teach y'all how to prepare in case something was to happen. And that is what we hope you get from our podcast, from the videos like these. This is us talking about why we buy the freeze-dried foods, how we use it, and how important it is to have it on your shelves.
Exactly.
And just
I just want to say my son has always had, my son is a former soldier in the United States Army. And he always says one thing he learned is there is a fine line between preparation and paranoia. And so there's nothing wrong with being prepared as long as you don't go over that line to paranoia. But when we first moved here on this farm is when I really started putting things together, because we will have ice storms here where nobody's getting to us for 8 days. We can be without power, without seeing another human being for 8 days. And I have to be prepared. I have to make sure that I don't allow myself to become paranoid in preparing. So it's not just because of current times and the things that we're going through as a nation. There are just times that you just need to be prepared, and don't be blind to what your family needs. Start putting a few things away. Start getting an extra case of green beans or whatever, potted meat, and slide it under your bed. You don't have to have a big pantry. You don't have to have a lot of space. You can start putting things in little areas. And when I first started doing this and putting this together when we moved here on the farm, I know recently Papa Jim, my husband, said, do we really need 14 jars of peanut butter? No, I don't need 14 jars of peanut butter, but I have grandchildren. And if we happen to find ourselves in a situation where those grandchildren are hungry, I've got plenty of peanut butter where I can bake my bread in my solar oven and slap them together, a little peanut butter and berry sandwich if I have to. And they're eating. The same with, I went the other day to the store and I bought, I think, 2 cases of Vienna sausages. And a lot of people are going to go, ugh, Vienna sausages. But you know what? If you're starving, if you're hungry, it's a good source of protein and you have it. And even though I'm a vegetarian, if it came right down to it and we go through everything in my stores that I have in my pantry and it comes down to me eating Vienna sausage, I'll eat the Vienna sausage. But I can't do that if I haven't prepared myself and purchased them and put them in my pantry.
And that's the same thing with the meat substitute. People will say, oh, the vegan option. If you're hungry, you'll eat it. And listen, I'm a fat kid. I like my meats. But
do I look like I'm starving as a vegetarian? No.
You look fabulous, by the way. But I did want to say, friend, to let everybody know that's watching, Round the Hay Bale, we do have affiliate codes for the AUGASON Farms down below in the description box, always on the Round the Hay Bale QR code app. So make sure that if you want to get AUGASON Farm products to stock your pantry, it costs you no extra. It just helps out our podcast to grow and helps us so that we're able to bring great, fabulous content to you multiple seasons. So we would appreciate it if you used our code below. Go grab some AUGASON Farm stuff. Get stocked up. Why? Because in a second, I'm going to twitch my nose and we will transform to where I am going to vacuum seal something.
I think you'll be amazed at just how easy it is.
I'm excited. So don't go anywhere because I'm going to. And we're back. Okay. I can't even wiggle my nose. So what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to make a cute little kind of macaroni and cheese. We're going to seal it up. We're going to do Alicia's way. We're going to do it with some 4-jar lids because y'all know they are a gracious sponsor of Round the Hay Bale. They're wonderful. They're fabulous. And spoiler alert, they may have some jars coming out in October. They may be making their own jars. Isn't that wonderful? So what I'm going to do is off camera, Alicia told me, make sure that your powder is on the bottom. Now I'm going to leave the recipe for this literally in the description box. I'm just going to kind of run through it. But I am using the cheese powder from AUGASON Farms, putting that just straight in there. Alicia has a fabulous cream base sauce that she has in her funeral potato videos that has the milk powder, sour cream powder, there's other stuff, right, friend?
Oh, yeah. And it's so good when you make macaroni and cheese with it. You add a little bit of spices to it. You add some, a little bit of some dehydrated onion in there. Delicious. And macaroni and cheese is just not the same once you make your own like this.
Look at those colors so far, friend. Aren't those so, it's just so pretty how it just looks so cool. And I think just because I want to be cuckoo and crazy, I may throw some green seasoning in there just to give it a little shimmy.
Yeah, throw some pepper in there, throw some oregano in there. Look at how pretty that layer is with the spices while he's getting that onion powder, pepper, some oregano, some parsley. Anything that you can add that adds a little bit of color will really, really liven up. Woo! He's a Southern cook. He's just gonna dump and go.
Sure
Dump and
is.
go, baby.
Dump and go. And then we're basically now just going to throw the pasta right on top of it.
You know, one thing that Casey and I were discussing earlier, one of the reasons you want to put your powder and your spices at the bottom, then put your pasta in or your freeze-dried vegetables, whatever you're going to do, because once you get all of your ingredients in, you're going to wipe the rim of your jar, place your lid on, and then you're going to go ahead and vacuum seal it. But you don't want these powders up here close to the top because you don't want it to compromise the seal by getting some powder sucked out as it's removing all of that air. So there he is wiping the rim. You don't have to do it with a wet towel. You just kind of want to make sure that there's no powder or any debris on there before you seal it. That beautiful lid. Now you don't need the ring, just the lid.
Just the lid.
Just the lid. And are you doing wide mouth or regular mouth?
Wide mouth.
Okay.
So I'm going to hook it up. I may have to tilt y'all down so y'all can see it a little bit better. I don't even know if you can y'all see back there, friend? Can you see it? Probably not, right?
I can see what you're doing with the attachment. I can see the attachment.
So it's just my food saver. I've got it hooked up to the accessory port. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to suction this right over the top of it.
Now, Casey, just so you know where it says Casey Ormsby Farms, there you go. Hold it up so people can see because your name kind of blocks a little bit of the view. Okay, you've got it down on there. You should be good as long as it's seated well.
And I'm going to turn my little switch into the operating mode.
Before you do that, I want you to listen because as you hear it suck the air out, you'll hear a change. It'll go, and once it hits that higher pitch, you know you're done.
So now I just press vacuum and seal?
Yep, just vacuum. Now that should have been long enough. You can go a little longer if you want to, but that should have been long enough.
And all my lights are off now, which means I can do this.
So now carefully just peel that off. Go straight up. Don't rock it. Just pull straight up.
And it's sealed.
There you go.
Because I want to be fully honest with everybody that watches us because you watch us because you want to know how to do something. Now, this is the coil that I used at first. This was the one that came with the two attachments.
Hello, everybody. I'm here all by myself. I don't know where our host went, but I do believe he's having some technical difficulties and riding that struggle bus there in the middle of Georgia. He'll be back. I hope. If not, you're just stuck with little old me. There he is.
Okay. Let's try it again. This is no good. Throw that away. We're not going to use her. Okay?
Do a test run on it first. Don't throw it away out of the box. Do a test run and see. Maybe you just got a faulty one.
Yeah, maybe I did get a faulty one, but the one that comes with your vacuum sealer is what we used. And as you can tell, it is completely sealed. It is sealed. There is no air in this. It was vacuumed out. And just to give y'all a little show, I have a pint here, and I love this milk powder that Country Mama told us in the video to buy, so we did.
Mm-hmm.
We got powdered milk, because there's difference, right, Alicia?
There's a difference between powdered milk that makes many of us cringe from our childhood when our mothers would try to give us powdered milk. There's a difference between powdered milk and milk powder. It's all in how it's processed. The milk powder has a more likable taste. It doesn't quite have that powdered milk taste to it. So we really enjoy all of my cream bases and everything. We use the Nido milk powder that you're showing there.
What I'm doing right here, I'm just really going to fill up this whole jar with the milk powder because I love it. Let me tell you, Alicia, and viewers that are watching, I have reconstituted this and used it for cereal. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was completely shocked when I used it. I've also used it and added vinegar and made a buttermilk substitute to make a buttermilk pie. Y'all, this is game changer for those that don't have a cow on the farm. So again, I'm going to make sure that I am following Country Mama's instructions from before. We are wiping this down. It doesn't have to be damp. We're putting a 4 jars lid right on top. I'm putting it over, making it snapped in there. We're putting the good one that came with your vacuum sealer. Make sure it's in there good, okay? I'm sealing, and let's suck away.
You can hear the change.
And now it's sealing. It's in seal mode. My lights are off.
And there you go.
And I have
that you can put on your shelf for 10 years. You'll be fine as long as you don't have any sealing break in your seal.
So y'all, this was so exciting to have Alicia on here and teach me how to do this stuff. While she's on, I'm going to go put it in my canning pantry. I'm going to trot like this over to the canning pantry.
You trot, and I'm going to give a tip. So once you have used your food sealer, if you don't have a food sealer, you can also use a brake bleeder. Believe it or not, if you get your hands on a really nice brake bleeder, you can take that hose, hook it up to a brake bleeder, and you can hand pump the air out of the jar. Now, once you have your jars put away, every so often, just walk through your pantry and just tap on the top. Make sure that they're still sealed. Now, see, I've got this jar here, it has nothing in it. But if you hear that, you need to pull these out and redo them again. And you should be fine just resealing them again. Now, if you've dehydrated something and you have had your seal compromised, look to see if there's any evidence of maybe moisture getting back in. You might have to pop some things back into your dehydrator and then, check that up. See there? You need to use them up or rehydrate them, friends, and then just go ahead and reseal so you can keep all of the moisture and the air out. Now, I do also want to say that I do have some things that I have used the oxygen absorbers for. But, once you open a pack, even if you're just opening a pack of 10 oxygen absorbers and you're only going to use 5, when you get those 5 out, you are subjecting those other 5 to air, and sometimes it compromises them. So I really prefer using my Food Saver. I'm not sponsored by them, not getting any kind of kickback for promoting them, but I have found that through my years here at the farm, that is my preference. I like to use the Food Saver as opposed to the oxygen absorbers. And I think
same here.
I think I'm going to have to decide if I want taco soup tonight, if I want chicken noodle pot pie, or if I want beef stew, because now I'm kind of hungry. I feel like using one of these off my shelf today and making dinner easy on myself.
Me too. I feel like I need to use up the rest of this in can and pop it up, put some more macaroni and cheese in there. And just to let you know, y'all, if you have enjoyed this with me and Alicia showing you how we use our freeze-dried powders and foods, leave this video a thumbs up, and we may do a masterclass on our Facebook page. The link is down below. Yeah,
I wanted to point out too that, this is just a quart-sized jar and you may not think it's much, but if I make this into a taco soup and serve it with some tortilla chips the first night, I have half of what this makes. This doesn't just stay this amount. I end up with at least 2 or 3 quarts of food.
Right.
And then I use it the next night to make burritos. So I can get 4 meals minimum just out of this quart-sized jar.
Mm-hmm.
So it is cost effective.
It is cost effective, so right. And friend, thank you for coming on my video with me and showing me how to do this. And y'all, make sure to go over to Country Mama Musing and give her a subscribe and hit that bell so that you know anytime that she puts out yummy, scrummy, off-grid, dinner in a jar videos. And she should have that rocket stove one coming out pretty soon. Don't watch anybody else's video except hers. So
I'll have Papa Jim work with me on that. We've got a few things that we've got coming up that we'll be doing.
It's exciting. Well, friend, thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me, friend. Take care, everybody.
All righty, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Thank you again to Alicia. I just adore her. She is fabulous. She has taught me so much. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And go ahead and hit that bell icon so you know that anytime that new content drops to my channel. Follow me on social media at Instagram and Facebook at Ormsby Farm. Keep in mind, we may be putting out that class on meal in a jar. Who knows? Make sure you're liking and subscribing. Till next video, be blessed.
I'm coming home.